This ancient religion tells us the truth about both Zoro and the sun god Nika. It's really no secret that One Piece is largely inspired by mythologies from all around the world. From Sengoku's Golden Buddha mythical zone to the Nordic roots of Elbaf giants, Oda has clearly studied his myths and legends extensively. However, One Piece also shares a lot of its mythology with an ancient religion that you might not be as familiar with: Zoroastrianism. The connection between these two runs so deep that Oda might have taken inspiration from this religion for at least two of his major characters. And so today I want to take a closer look at the Zoroastrian roots of the sun god Nika and even ask, could Roronoa Zoro be short for Roronoa Zoroaster? Well, before I tell you why the answer is probably yes, make sure you're subscribed for more content like this every single week. As we wait for Eiichiro Oda to reveal the secrets of the sun god Nika and Joy Boy, now is the perfect time to theory craft and see what we can uncover from the rich secrets that make up the fabric of the One Piece world. While pulling from so many mythologies from all around the world, Oda still manages to weave a cohesive narrative, which is a really impressive feat, being able to pull together so many different parts into a solid whole. But perhaps, as the user JammyPants915 on my subreddit has found out, there's something about all these mythologies that helps him along the way. So Oda is bringing in elements from Abrahamic religions like Christianity and Islam. Kuma carries a Bible, and the Quran features a story of the 𝙻𝚎𝚐𝚗𝚙, a tree in hell that grows actual devil fruits. That might be new to you, right? And he also incorporates Eastern religions, of course, like Hinduism and Buddhism. Again, we have Sengoku's Daibutsu fruit, and of course, Zoro taking the form of Ashura. Like, Oda even borrows from beliefs in Norse or ancient Egyptian mythology as well. We're all looking forward to meeting Prince Loki of Elbaf. There is Shanks, and we remember Pel and Chaka's fruit, which allowed them to take the shape of animals that resemble the gods of the Egyptian pantheon. The Jackal fruit essentially turned Chaka into Anubis, while the Falcon fruit gave Pel the traits of the Egyptian god Horus. The jury is still out though on whether Horus could also survive massive explosions of a giant bomb. But anyway, what if these separate influences play together so nicely because there are common threads that run through all of them? Well, it turns out that almost all of these religions all over the world were influenced or inspired by Zoroastrianism. In case you're wondering what the heck that is, let me give you a quick rundown of it before we get into why it's connected to One Piece. Zoroastrianism is the world's oldest known monotheistic religion, or the first major religion to teach that there is only one supreme god. It originates from Persia, located in what is now modern-day Iran. This faith is based on the teachings of a super ancient prophet called Zoroaster, or as you might have heard, someone called Zarathustra. And so some of the defining features of its belief system center around the duality between good and evil and the eternal battle between the two. And these tenets of Zoroastrianism have become so widespread around the globe that they've influenced many other faiths throughout the world, including Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, and many, many more. Zoroastrianism might also well be the world's oldest continuously practiced religions, with many people in the world still adhering to the Zoroastrian faith to this day. One famous practitioner that you might be surprised at was none other than Queen singer Freddie Mercury, for instance. Well, clearly now that we know that, the Galila Company's People Lulu's resemblance to Freddie Mercury was no mere coincidence, and One Piece's connection to Zoroastrianism has been hinted at way back, all along. Okay, maybe the Freddie Mercury one is a bit of a stretch, but now that we've covered the basics of Zoroastrianism, it's time to really dig into how it inspired One Piece so much, including Sun God Nika and Zoro. Zoroastrian teachings say that the world was once pure and good, but was slowly corrupted by evil forces. However, to defeat this evil and return the world to its ideal state, every 1,000 years, a hero is reincarnated or reborn until finally, with the last cycle, the hero finally vanquishes these forces of evil. Now, this is a very stark simplification of some very complex theology. Of course, you can learn more about it if you get your hands on a copy of the Avesta, the sacred text of Zoroastrianism, but even that bit of information should scream One Piece to you, like everywhere. One Piece is all about inherited will. Almost all of the Straw Hats and many other characters have inherited the will of someone close to them. And Luffy himself seems to share so many parallels with the former king of the pirates, Goldie Roger. Roger himself was too early in arriving to Laugh Tale. It seems that there is a cosmic calendar counting down the time towards some cataclysmic destiny, and Luffy is the fated hero to take part in a great battle that determines the future of the world. But most recently, we're seeing that Luffy appears to be a reincarnation of sorts for Joy Boy. We know very little about Joy Boy so far, but we do know that he played a significant role in the Void Century, which happened nearly 1,000 years ago, somewhat in line with Zoroastrianism's cycle of the reborn hero. Another important connection to Zoroastrianism comes from Zoro himself. I mean, Zoroastrianism, huh? It's possible that Oda got Zoro's name from this religion, because most Western viewers, of course, when thinking of the name Zoro, think of the swashbuckling pulp hero Zoro with 2 R's, but despite Antonio Banderas' impressive sword-wielding skills, the rest of the comparison really falls apart quite quickly. In fact, we do know that Zoro wasn't actually named after this other hero, and thanks to the similar name, we now have Zoro with 2 R's to thank for every English reader having to suffer through the official translation calling our favorite swordsman Zolo. Thanks for that, I guess. Quick bonus fact here, if you're wondering where the Roronoa part comes from, well, that's derived from the real-life pirate Francis Lolona. Lolona, I guess. I mean, you get it. Roronoa is the Japanese rendering of that. Anyways, back to Zoroastrianism. One of the most important connections to Zoro is his Ashura technique. Today, Ashuras are known as divine beings within Hinduism and Buddhism, but their lineage can actually be tracked all the way back to Zoroastrianism. In fact, the supreme god of Zoroastrianism is known as Ahura Mazda, the Ahura pronunciation and spelling shifting to Ashura as it moved across different places, times, and languages. Another connection between Zoro and Zoroastrianism comes through his many brushes with death. Now, it's said that in climatic battle, the great hero of Zoroastrian myth will cause the dead to be reborn and for the souls lost in the underworld to be purified and brought back to the light. And so I really couldn't help but notice that Zoro has been having a really recent encounter with the Grim Reaper himself, but until we find out more about what that situation was all about, it's really hard to speculate if there is a connection here. Another connection between Zoroastrianism and One Piece has to do with fire and light. Luffy has been shown to have unexplained powers to conjure fire. He's the foretold hero that will bring the dawn of the world, the one who will shine light again on the world that has been shrouded in darkness. And it just so happens that fire and light are crucial symbols in Zoroastrianism. In this religion, there is a practice to light an eternal flame within a place of worship called a fire temple. That sounds really cool. And so when the ideas and values from Zoroastrianism are passed from one person down to the next, it is symbolized by a new flame being lit from the existing one. Thus, an eternal flame, one that endures the flow of time, represents an inherited will, not too dissimilar from the concept of inherited will within One Piece. Speaking of inherited will, in addition to being a new Joy Boy, it would seem that Luffy is also related to a figure called the sun god Nika. In Zoroastrianism, fire is used to represent the god Ahura Mazda. And in addition to this, there is also a Zoroastrian moral code that follows 3 main principles: good thoughts or pendarnik, good words or goftarnik, and good actions or kerdanik. The word nik, which can be translated as good, true, or chosen, just so happens to be where the Persian name Nika originates. The name of the sun god Nika literally comes from Zoroastrianism. So if you weren't convinced by any other pieces of evidence so far, I'm sure this one will make you think twice. And while we focused on the Zoroastrianism side of argument, Oda Sensei also dives deep into Norse mythology as well. It's of course the inspiration for both the giants of Elbaf and our red-haired legend Shanks. Now, Shanks and Luffy are bound to meet very soon, and if you want to know why this will most likely take place on Elbaf and why Luffy must fight his mentor at some point, you really can't miss out on this video right here.